what's left to happen. We've seen a lot of what has already happened. We see, of course, where we are right now. We talked about us being right now in Revelation chapter 13, as far as historically speaking. We're in the sixth church, the sixth seal, the sixth trumpet. We're right now in the development of the 144,000. We're right now in Revelation 17, where the whore is developing her game and getting her stuff together so that she can take over the earth the way she thinks she's going to do it. We're living these events right now in real time. And so what we're talking about when we're talking about Revelation 19, we're talking about an event that's in the future, but because of what we know it's not the too far distant future. Not too far distant future. Like I said, I don't believe we have more than 15 years. I don't believe we're going to be too far past 2030. I really don't. I'd be surprised if we even got there. We may not even get there. Okay, that's how close we are to the end of everything, as we know it, in terms of this earth, this system, this Babylonian system, this political system, this church system, this culture that we have on the earth. Okay, that's how close we are. It's not that far off. It's very close. And because it's very close, we have seen signs in the heavens already. For example, I think all of us can agree, although earthquakes and hurricanes and tornadoes and typhoons and brush fires have been happening throughout the Earth's history that we know about, the intensity and the frequency that we're seeing right now is unheard of. Okay, the intensity of the hurricanes, the intensity of the typhoon, the power and intensity of the earthquakes and tornadoes is happening with a strength that we have not heard about before. This is also a sign, okay? Because the Most High is showing us with this that things are going to be continuing to happen that we've never seen before, in an intensity we've never seen. I mean, intensity and strength, deception. We're at the point right now in our culture where drug companies are allowed to come on the television and tell you straight out, take this drug to control this disease, but there's risk for you getting this other disease and dying. And people are so deceived that they take those drugs and they never get healed. And the drugs never promise to heal you, never promise to heal you. And people take the drug and they're allowed to market these things and openly deceive you. We're at a point in history where it's acceptable for presidents to be out and out liars, and people just receive that. This is just where we are. Okay. We're at a point where they're saying we have, great scientific knowledge, and yet there's many diseases we don't even know where they came from. We don't know how to heal them. We don't know how to cure them. There's very few, in fact, diseases that people have cured. Very few. They have some, but they don't cure all diseases. Okay. So this is getting more and more. We're at a point now where it used to be that the only homeless people you would really see or people take notice of were people that had got caught in some sort of drug addiction, right? Or they were career criminals. But now you're seeing hardworking people homeless. You're seeing people that are trying their best to escape homeless. Okay? You're seeing it and more, and it's not just in the United States, it's in all the countries, especially the so-called industrialized nations. You're seeing great numbers of homeless people, not in the United States, but in the UK, Canada, China, Japan, homeless. These are people that worked, that's trying and can't get a job, or their job doesn't pay enough for them to support a roof over their head. And you're going to see, and I'm going to see more of these inequities, more of these unrighteous things and judgments coming on the earth more frequently, more intensely, heavier. Right. And we're seeing record amounts of wealth for the upper 1% of population. Upper 1%. 1%. Okay. Record amounts of wealth. You're talking now, when I was a child, they talked in terms of millionaire. If you became a millionaire, you were set for life. Then it became the billionaire. And now it's broaching the trillionaire. So you have people with multiple billions of dollars on one side of the earth, while there's thousands of people, millions of people homeless, hungry on the other side of the earth. Homeless and hungry, even children, homeless, hungry. And people don't care. Okay? This is where we are. All the things Messiah talked about in Matthew, in terms of prophetic things that will happen right before his return, are happening on planet Earth. Everything he said is coming to pass in a major way. This is different than anything prior, because you and I, we can see it, right? I mean, it's more intense. You're seeing more homeless people than you've ever seen. You're seeing more, the people are richer than anybody ever heard about. They're 1%, much richer than anybody ever heard about. Okay? Deception is at an all-time high. Drugs are rampant. Drugs are rampant. Between the drugs they sell you off the television and illegal drugs, they're rampant. And people are getting hooked out of depression. They say right now that the greatest killer of middle-aged Caucasian men is suicide and drug use. Those are the greatest killers of middle-aged Caucasian men. Suicide and drug use. Middle age, that's in the 40s and 50s. It used to be not too long ago that when people in their 40s and 50s, they were getting ready to retire. They were getting ready to get everything in order to retire, making the most money they ever made and getting ready to retire. But now those are the people that are the greatest killers of Caucasian males. Suicide and drug use. Of course, we know that the so-called African American or Negro males have always been higher numbers of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Always higher numbers. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes. And then, of course, there are those afflictions that only afflict us, like the Most High said that would happen, sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia only affects melanated people. Okay? These are all signs, and all of these things increasing, more intense. That's what's going on. All of these are signs. And included in those signs are what we have been talking about today, the awakening of the Israelite people. And brothers and sisters, the good thing about that is, the wonderful thing is, all I have to do is focus on being prepared to receive the Father's seal of righteousness upon me. All you have to do is focus on being prepared to receive the Father's seal of righteousness upon you. Everything else the Father's Spirit will cause us to do, whether it's teach or preach or make any pronouncement publicly he wants us to make, his Spirit will dictate that to us. We don't need anybody to tell us to do that. You understand? Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you following what I'm saying? We don't need anybody to tell us to do that. The other day, I was listening to the so-called Hebrew man. I say so-called because I have to be honest. I have to be honest. I try not to speak publicly about the Hebrew brothers in terms of their names. I try not to, because I'm trying to be positive, and you never know, where a brother's coming from. But I'm listening to a certain brother, and I was suspicious right off the bat. You know why I was suspicious off the bat? First of all, he came and he showed his face, right? A lot of brothers like to show their face. If you notice, we don't like to show our face because we want it to be about the message, not about our face. You understand? I know people are more entertained when they see your face, but I am not trying to entertain anyone. The news entertains you, sports entertains you, music entertains you. I am not put on the earth to entertain anyone. I'm put on the earth to speak the straight truth. And all teachers of the Most High are the same. So I saw this man, he was supposed to be a teacher. And the first thing, not only did we see his face, but his wife sitting right next to him, ready to speak herself. What is wrong with that, brothers? Let me be very clear. The Most High is calling 144,000 men. And if you're awakening to this truth, you need to understand this is not Christianity. There's not going to be no sisters leading the congregation. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. If a sister is wise, when she stands up, she's going to try to uplift the man. She's going to try to uplift and honor the man as much as she can if she's going to stand up and say anything. And if she's going to teach, she should be teaching women to do the same. Okay? And she should be teaching children. But she should not be teaching any man. If you see anybody declaring themselves to be a Hebrew and you see a woman trying to teach a man, I don't care who she is. Either she's ignorant and she's going to learn better later, or she's trying to become the goddess. Period. Period. I don't care how many raps they have on their head or how many times they change their name. I don't care. The word is plain. This movement is a movement of men. I've read the Bible through many times, and I want to ask you all a question. Have you ever seen the word sexist in the Bible? Have you ever seen the word sexist? And yet people claim the Most High is sexist if you think men are supposed to lead this thing. The Bible is plain. Bible is plain. So I saw this brother with his wife, and the brother was talking about unity. He was talking about unity, and one of the things that bothers me, brothers and sisters, is when men try to force what only the Most High Spirit can do. Let me say that again. Men try to force what only the Most High Spirit can do. What do I mean by that? This brother was talking about us. We need to come together the way the Chinese people come together. And I was offended right off the bat. Like, wait. The way the Chinese people come together. I was like, what are you, bro? So, I get it. So the chosen people need to copy the Chinese. I get it now. I was like, what? And he was trying to speak out of John 17 and say, Messiah, all he wanted was for us to be unified. But when you read John 17, really, when you read it in truth and understand what it's saying, he is telling us to be unified in the Father, in his spirit, in the Father's spirit, that we might be one. That he said that they all, meaning his people, might be one, Father, as I am in you and you in me, that they might be one in us. This is the Messiah praying to his Father. And you know what the scripture says. His words will not be in vain. They will not fall to the ground. What he speaks will come to pass. So when we're talking about unity, you can't force it. I can't force it to happen. But the Father will make it happen. Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you following me? The Father is going to make it happen by virtue of the fact that we heard the Messiah, we read the Messiah asking his Father for it. It's going to happen. And this man, when he started mentioning Chinese coming together and money, I was it right there. I had to sign off. And I came back to try to listen to some more, but I couldn't. I couldn't listen to any more because now I'm thinking this man is either ignorant or he's a false preacher. Because sometimes people are just ignorant. I was, and I still got a lot to learn. But when you hear people talking about Caesar's money and let's get together, that is a brother that's trying to con you. Again, I will just say this one more time. I want somebody to just come out and tell me, y'all online, tell me something, okay? Because I don't understand how anybody can think Federal Reserve notes are going to help us be free. Please tell me that. How is Federal Reserve notes going to help the chosen people of the Most High Yah? Can you please tell me? Notes that are printed in the Treasury of the United States with the word Federal Reserve on it, a private bank that's controlled by Ashkenazis and Roman Catholics. How you telling me you need that to finish the work in this? How you tell me that's going to set you free of something? I mean, really? No. The Father will bring unity. As I seek the Father's spirit of righteousness, to be sealed in his spirit, to give him the ultimate honor and glory with every breath I have in my being. And as you do the same thing, and you know what? When you're doing it and I'm doing it, when we come together, we'll be brothers right off from the second we meet. You know, last week I met Gamaliel, a Hebrew, with his wife. And they came and they got baptized. And I had not met them face to face. I had only talked to him on the phone. But when I came to the hotel they were staying in and they opened the door, in that second, our spirits connected and we were brothers from the second I met him. When I met his sister, when I met his wife, I'm sorry, my wife and I met, we were all connected from the moment we met. And we didn't have to talk for like 10 minutes. We were connected from that time and did not even want to leave each other's presence because of the spirit that was between us. You see, we didn't have to force unity. It was already there because of the Father's spirit. Because I had dedicated myself to give honor to the Father, and I knew by the Spirit bearing witness that he had dedicated himself to give honor and glory to the Father. That's how it works, brothers and sisters. And so, as we're looking at Revelation 19, and this is going to happen. The things that are written here, the things that we're going to read in Ezekiel today there's 100% of certainty they're going to come to pass. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be long. It's not going to be long. The only question is, what role will you and I play in these final movements? That's the only question. What role will you and I play? Because the things are going to happen. Nothing is going to stop them. There was one delay. And the Father revealed that delay to us to let us know there won't be a second one. When he looked down and saw that he was ready to have his Messiah come back, but he did not have his 144,000 and he held everything up. So he's letting us know the only thing left is not Rome, it's not the United States, it's not the United Nations. The only thing left is the seal of the 144,000. That's all. And as long as you and I have as our focus the glory of the Father and receiving his spirit in order to give him the highest level of glory, we're going to be in the right place. We're going to be all right. He's going to lead us in the right way. There's just no question about that. We might make mistakes. We might turn left or right. But remember what the word promises us. He said, you shall hear a word behind you saying, this is the way. Walk ye in it when you turn to the right and when you turn to the left. You understand? So his spirit is going to be the thing that brings us together. His spirit's going to be the thing that organizes us. His spirit's going to be the thing, brothers and sisters. You see, we're not used to that because in everything we have seen on the earth, it's always been man organizing himself, right? It's always been man doing this and man doing that. But as we saw when we studied last night in the Exodus, we saw it was the plagues that came from the Father. And he spoke through his servant Moses, and the spirit moved on the people, and they did what they were supposed to do, and they got out. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing. So we're looking at Revelation 19. And I want to also point out some things now. When the Messiah returns, I want to show you something in Zechariah chapter 14. When the Messiah returns, okay, he's going to bring the city. How do I know? Look at Zechariah 14. Let's take a look at Zechariah chapter 14. Zechariah 14 from verse 1. I'm going to read Zechariah 14 from verse 1 down to verse 9. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. And I will gather all nations against Jerusalem. And the house and the city shall be taken, and the houses rivaled, and the woman ravished. And half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And Yahweh, my Most High, shall come, and all the saints with thee. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to Yahweh, not day nor night. But it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living water shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea and half toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. And Yahweh shall be king over all the earth in that day. There shall be one Yahweh, and his name one. This is a saint. Now we're talking about, here's Zechariah. We got Revelation, Yakana. We get ready to look at Ezekiel. So now you see in this, right? So he's saying there's going to be people fleeing, and we read that in Revelation chapter 6, right? They're fleeing, Revelation chapter 1 also, fleeing when he returned. They're going to try to fight against us. After they flee, they're going to recover and try to fight against us. And he's going to overcome them and destroy them. And Jerusalem's going to be set here on the earth. Everybody see that? Testing 1, 2, 3. And we already read Isaiah, where he says he's going to make new Jerusalem. Created new. It's not going to be the old one that's out there, that fantasy that's like Disneyland. That's not going to be that one. It's going to be the real one that he would have made with his own hands. So now, Messiah is going to return. He's going to bring Jerusalem. He's going to set up the kingdom. The heathen going to run, but then they're going to come back, gather themselves, and try their best to take that city. This is the heathen. This is not a resurrection. This is the first resurrection, right? Remember, there's two resurrections. The first resurrection where he resurrects his people from all ages. We read about this in Ezekiel 37 last night. He's resurrecting his people from the graves, and he's going to have the people that are already here, the 144,000, and those with them. And we're going to take the land. We're going to take it. He's going to recreate this earth, and he's going to destroy all those that come against him. Destroy it. And this is what we're reading about right now. Now let's turn to Ezekiel chapter 38. Ezekiel 38. And we finished in 37, where it says, my tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. The word sanctify, it means set apart. See, the word holy and the word sanctify is really the same word in the Hebrew. They both mean set apart, sanctify, to set apart. Okay, so he's saying, I'm setting apart my people Israel. You see what I'm saying? Testing 1, 2, 3. So he sets us apart. We're different. Why? Why is that? First of all, because he promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob a seed. He is not reneging on that promise. He promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob a seed. Your seed shall inherit this land. Am I lying? Wasn't that what he said? Your seed will inherit this land. That's what he said. So he's going to separate, he's going to show this, my son Abraham, my son Isaac, my son Yaakov. This is your seed that's inheriting this land. I brought them through trouble and trial. I put them into slavery. I caused them to be oppressed because of their sins against me, but I have redeemed them. I have reclaimed them. I have remade them. Praise the Most High Yah. That's when he said in chapter 36, new spirit I'm going to put within you. I'm going to take the stony heart out of your flesh. I'm going to give you a heart of flesh. And I'm going to put my spirit in you and cause you to walk on my commandments and statutes. He shall keep my judgments and do them. We read that last night, Ezekiel 36. You're going to have to see. But there's going to be heathen, because he said, and the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel. So there's going to be heathen that are going to be saved. The heathen, there's not all of them, and we're going to see a sixth part. The Bible is going to tell us plainly, but there's going to be heathen that's going to be redeemed. Period. I know brothers don't like to hear that, but you got to look at the scripture for what it says. Stop trying to turn it in what it doesn't say. Okay. Let's look at Revelation 22. I'm sorry, Revelation 21. And it's going to repeat what we just read in Zechariah, Revelation 21. Notice again from Revelation 21, from verse 22 down to verse 26. Actually, 22 to 27. Revelation 21, 22 to 27. Then we're coming right back to Ezekiel. Notice what it said. And I saw no temple therein, for for Yahweh Al Shaddai and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it. For the glory of Yahweh did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And the nations of them which are saved. Wait. And the nations of them which are saved. That the word nations, Gentiles, heathen. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. And the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it, and the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. That's what Zechariah just told us, Zechariah 14. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it, and there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. So there's going to be heathen redeemed. People that are not of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that are going to be redeemed. See how? Just like us, repentance. Repentance of their sins and the sins of their fathers, just like us. Through the Messiah, just like us, the Hebrew Messiah of the nation of Israel, the chosen people. They will be grafted in among us, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. Praise the Most High Yah. There's an order. There's always an order. Those that receive the truth will receive the order. Those that don't, well, they just won't. Period. Ezekiel chapter 38. Ezekiel 38. We're going to start at verse 1. Go down to verse 8. Ezekiel 38. And the word of Yahweh cometh unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Mashach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Mashach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaw, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, for thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, be thou a guard against them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. And thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, and thou shalt be like a cloud over to cover the land, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. So let's stop right here. This, what we're reading right here, what you're saying, when you see what is said here in verse 8, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land. This is talking about the end of the 1,000 years. You hear what I'm saying? When it says here, after many days thou shalt be visited. Okay, this is talking about the end of the 1,000 years. Okay, and I want to just say this so that I know, as I said, prophets don't always. These chapters are not always chronologically ordered. You hear what I'm saying? And this again, I want to bring this out. We read chapter 13 of the book of Revelation, and you can see that chapter 17 actually comes before chapter 16 and chapter 13. It comes before those. We read chapter 18, and we can see chapter 18 of the book of Revelation comes before chapter 16, because chapter 18 is a warning about plagues that actually occur in chapter 16. So you can see it's not always in order. We also read Daniel chapter 8 comes before Daniel chapter 5, because Daniel 8 talks about the 3rd year of Belshazzar. Daniel 5 talks about Belshazzar's death. You understand? So it's not always chronological. And I don't know why the Most High does it that way, but he does. And that's not for me to question. So I'm saying that to tell you, listen carefully, chapter 39 of Ezekiel comes before chapter 38 of Ezekiel. Chapter 38 comes after chapter 39. Chapter 39 comes first. And you can see by the events that are taking place here. When he says, after many days thou shalt be visited. Let me show you another scripture that says very similar thing. Isaiah chapter 24. Isaiah chapter 24. Isaiah 24 is another chapter regarding the destruction on planet Earth. And I want to show you chapter 24. Let's see. I'm going to read portions of this for what we're looking at. Notice chapter 24. I'm going to read chapter 24, verse 20, 21, and 22, and 23. From 20 to 23, Isaiah chapter 24. Notice what it says. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and be removed like a cottage. And the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and they shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Then the moon shall be confounded and the sun ashamed, when Yahweh of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem before his ancients gloriously. So you see here again, he's saying he's going to punish the high ones on the earth, all the high people, all the people, the kings. That is, we're going to read the kings, the beast, the false prophet, the dragon. He's going to punish them. And he says they're going to be gathered together in the pit. When you look up the word pit, it's the grave. And they shall be shut up in the prison. And after many days, they shall be visited. That's the second resurrection, after many days. You see what I'm saying? Everybody follow me so far? So here in Ezekiel 38, you see the same wording. It says, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that was brought back from this war. So you're going to see the beginning of the 1,000 years takes place when Messiah comes and establishes us in the kingdom, and they're going to try to take the kingdom. That's going to happen in chapter 39. But in chapter 38 is after the 1,000 years, which are spoken of in Revelation chapter 20. Let's take a look. Revelation chapter 20. It's the same wording in the prophets and in Revelation. Notice Revelation 20. I'm going to read from verse 1. Revelation 20 from verse 1 down to verse 7 and 8. From verse 1 down to verse 7 and 8. Okay, notice again. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and the great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed for a little season, saying the same thing. And I saw the thrones and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of Yahweh, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Messiah 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead, listen carefully, lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, our Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So you can see that all of these scriptures, Ezekiel 38, Isaiah 24, Revelation 20, are talking about events that take place at the end of the 1,000 years. Everybody follow me? Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. So actually, Isaiah 24 starts off with the first resurrection and talks about all the wicked being destroyed, and then says, after many days they shall be revisited. And that right there is the second resurrection. And we saw that it says, blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death has no power. Everybody got me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Everybody. So far so good. Okay. So far so good. All right. So now that in mind, let's go and look at chapter 39 of Ezekiel. Let's look at chapter 39, Ezekiel chapter 39. Okay. Ezekiel 39. And I'm going to read from verse 1. Now, this is the beginning of the 1,000 years, chapter 39. So, like chapter 34, 35, 36, 37, beginning of the 1,000 years. Chapter 39, beginning of 1,000 years. Chapter 38, end of the 1,000 years, right? So we're going to look at chapter 19 of the book of Revelation, and what we're going to see, that's the beginning of the 1,000 years. That's the beginning of it. And then we're going to also, we just read in chapter 20 where we see the end of the 1,000 years. Now, in the beginning of the 1,000 years, I want to point out, of course, that the New Jerusalem will come to the earth. We just saw, Zechariah showed us where Messiah is going to come. He's going to make a great valley where the Mount of Olives are. And he's going to set up Jerusalem there. And he's going to destroy the people that come against Jerusalem. And he's going to make the earth with one God, the Most High Yah, one Messiah, one King David. Okay, we saw that in Jerusalem, I mean. One King David in Jerusalem. Okay? Ezekiel 39. Watch this. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog, and say, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and leave, watch this, and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come from the north parts, and will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. So here you go. So he says, you can tell right here, because he's not destroying all of them, right? He's not destroying all of them. He said, I'm going to leave a sixth of you. Y'all following me? Testing 1, 2, 3. So some of them are going to be redeemed. He tells us it's the sixth part of them that's going to be redeemed. But 5, 6 of them are going to be destroyed. Okay? This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection, upon which the second death hath no power. That's what we just read. So he said, I'm going to leave the sixth part of you, Gog, but I'm going to destroy 5, 6 of you. Okay? Verse 3. And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and cause thy arrows to fall out of thy right hand. See, because Gog and Magog, they into weapons, right? I mean, that's the whole reason the United States of America is in the position she's in, because she's the first one to create and send nuclear weapons on another country. No other country has done that. Everybody testing them, but nobody has actually thrown them on somebody except the United States. That's why the Bible says in Revelation chapter 13 that he had power oh, to deceive nations by the means of those miracles which he had power to do, even having power to what? To bring fire out of the sky in the sight of men. That's these nuclear weapons, brothers and sisters. You hear what I'm saying? That's the fire coming down the sky that's caused the United States to everybody say, okay, we're not gonna mess with y'all. Because not only do y'all have the weapons, but y'all fool enough to actually use them. Right? That's what's going on. Because people got the weapons. India got one, France got one, UK got it. All these nations got it. Okay. They got nuclear weapons. Russia got it. China got it. Now North Korea got it. Everybody got nuclear weapons, right? But nobody has been bold enough to actually use them on other human beings except the United States. So nobody wants to mess with us because they know not only do we have it, but we'll use it. And we've already proven we'll use it. Okay, so we into weapons. He said, check this out. I'm gonna knock your weapons out your hand. They're gonna be useless to you when you come against me. That's what the Most High is telling him. Okay, you think you got weapons? I'm gonna knock your weapons out your hand. You're not gonna be able to use them against me. They're not gonna do nothing. That's nothing to me. I'm gonna blow your nuclear weapons out like a man blowing a candle. It's not gonna be nothing. Because they trust in their weapons. Okay, they're used to doing that. Let's continue from verse 4. From verse 4 down to verse, let's go from verse 4 down to verse 9. Notice what it says. And thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel. So we know who they coming at. And thou and all thy bands and the people that is with thee. See, and I will give thee to the ravenous birds. There they go again, of every sort, to the beasts of the field to be devoured. See, we read that in Revelation chapter 19. And here it is in Ezekiel 39. Okay. Thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith the Most High Yahweh. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isle. They shall know that I am Yahweh. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel. Behold, it is come and it is done, saith the Most High Yahweh. This is the day whereof I have spoken, and they shall dwell in the cities of Israel, shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years. Huh? This ain't gonna be something that happens in a moment, right? So you can see Messiah is going to come. There's going to be a war. They're going to try to take the city. They're going to be destroyed. We're going to burn their stuff up. Everything's going to be destroyed because it's got to be made over, right? We already know it's got to be made over. Everything's going to be made over. New heaven, new earth. So they're going to try to take us. They're going to try to take the city, and we're going to destroy them. This is the first resurrection. These are the ones that are alive. These are people that are alive right now. These are people that are on the earth right now. Okay? This is not people, these are people on the earth right now. They're going to try to stop the Most High's kingdom, and he's got his sword drawn, and they got no shot. Okay? They got no shot. They're going to first try to destroy us because we're down here and they think we by ourselves. They don't know that the Most High is with us. And so we're going to be by here ourselves. They're going to think they got us. They got us surrounded. They're getting ready to kill us. And then at midnight, at the Feast of Tabernacles, in the fall of that year, the autumn, the 7th month, the 15th day of the month, full moon, the Most High is going to deliver us. Messiah is going to deliver us from them. He's going to set it up here. He's going to bring the New Jerusalem down. We're going to be in the city with the Feast of Tabernacles doing what we got to do. And they're going to be amazed. And they're going to try to regroup after they run. They're going to try to regroup and come back. And they're going to try to take over. And they're going to have problems, serious problems. Let's continue. This is also Jeremiah 51. If you want to look at it, it's also Jeremiah 51. If you want to see that when you get a chance, just telling you. Ezekiel 39 from verse 10. From verse 10 Down to verse 13. So they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire. And they shall spoil those that spoil them, and rob those that rob them, saith the Most High Yahweh. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of the passengers on the east of the sea. And it shall stop the noses of the passengers, for they shall and there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamon-Gog. And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying them, that they may cleanse the land. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and they shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, saith the Most High Yahweh. Isn't that amazing? Look and see what's happening. They're going to be buried, destroyed, beat down, buried. This is the first resurrection. They're going to have a problem. See, that's why I say, brothers and sisters, don't you worry about people getting money and becoming famous and hitting lotto. This is their heaven right here. This is heaven for those people. People that have all the privilege right now, this is their heaven. This is it. Because when the real thing starts, when it breaks off, remember what the scripture says, we're going to have the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Forever and ever. Okay, praise the Most High Yah. Okay, let's continue from verse 14. Let's read from verse 14 down to verse 19. And they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain of the face of upon the face of the earth to cleanse it. And that after the end of 7 months they shall search, and the passengers that pass through the land, when they see it a man's bone, then shall he set up a sign by it till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamon-Gog. Also the name of the city shall be Hamona. Thus shall they cleanse the land. And thou, son of man, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, speak unto every feathered fowl and every beast of the field. This is again what we read about earlier in this chapter and in Revelation 19. Assemble yourselves and come, gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice, that I do sacrifice for you, even a sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. And ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs, of goats, of bullocks, all of them fatlings of Bashan. Ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken, of my sacrifice which I have sacrificed for you. Thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men, and with all men of war, saith the Most High Yahweh. And I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. Sorry, I said, let's keep going, sister. Keep going from verse 20 all the way down to 29. From verse 20 down to verse 29. I'm sorry, I should have told you that. From verse 20 down to verse 29. Thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men, and with all men of war, saith the Most High Yahweh. And I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I, Yahweh their God, that I am Yahweh their God, from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore I hid my face from them, and gave them into the land, into the hand of their enemies, so fell they all by the sword. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that, they have borne their shame, and all their trespasses, whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwell safely in their land, and none make them afraid. When I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' lands and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations, then shall they know that I am Yahweh, their Most High, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, but I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Most High Yahweh. You see this? This is the first resurrection. Also, I want to point out that there's no coincidence that the Most High in this chapter uses the term 7 years and 7 months, right? He used the term 7. Why? Because that means it's going to be complete. It's not necessarily a literal 7 years, but it's going to be complete. You see what I'm saying? He uses 7 years, and then he uses the term, as far as cleaning it up, twice, 7 months, because it's going to be a complete cleaning. Everybody got that? So chapter 39 is chapter 19 of Revelation. And let's go back now to Revelation chapter 19, and let's read it one more time. Now that we've understood all the other scriptures from the prophets, we understand what's getting ready to happen. And I want to point something out here. In Revelation 19, I want you to notice that only the beast and the false prophet go into the lake of fire in chapter 19. In chapter 20, anybody, including the devil, that is not in the book of life go into the lake of fire. But in chapter 19, only the beast and the false prophet go into the lake of fire. And as a matter of fact, they're in the lake of fire before the devil is. How do I know that? Notice Revelation chapter 20. Revelation chapter 20 and verse 10. Revelation 20 and verse 10. Notice again, Revelation chapter 20 and verse 10. Notice what it says. Revelation 20, 10. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. So the devil is cast into this lake of fire, but the beast and false prophet are already there. Yeah, y'all follow me? They're already there. So they were at the initial. And why is that? Why is that? Because again, let's take a look at this. Let's back up and look at this situation. The beast and the false prophet are rising right now. Right now, right? As in real time, we're talking to you. The beast and the false prophet are on the rise right now. So that as the seal comes on the 144,000 and those with them, the beast and false prophet and the dragon are fighting against them. Does that make sense? So here, right now, as I'm speaking to you, 144,000 are being prepared for the seal. All of us, hopefully by the grace of the Most High, among them, being prepared for the seal. Okay? As I'm speaking to you right now, you're already seeing the rise of the false prophet with the evangelical Christian right. It's already rising. Is already influencing government. You already see now the Pope exercising his authority over all Christendom right now in his position at the United Nations, as well as his position at the Pope as the head of his church. Already doing that. Okay, you're already seeing that. So that's going to continue and develop. And now we're going to continue and develop in the spirit of the Father. So now when Messiah returns, when he comes back, he's going to destroy the beast and the false prophet, because that's who's coming against us. Everybody got me? So you're going to have, as Revelation showed us in chapter 13, a one world religious power led by one man, a one world government, which we already kind of have right now with the United Nations, already got it. And so you're going to see, and we already talked about how under this one world religion, you're not only going to have Christianity, but you're going to have Islam as well. They're going to allow Islam, they're going to allow Judaism, and even other religions, which they consider lesser, but they have lots of people following them, like Buddhism and Hinduism. You're going to have all of this prominent in this one world religion. Everybody's going to be thinking they serve the same God. Well, they do. They serve the devil. And so they're going to come against the people of the Most High to try to destroy them. That's the end result. And then the Messiah will deliver us. As we have been reading, he's going to deliver us. Going to destroy Gog and Magog. Then he's going to arm us, and we're going to destroy him. And then the ones now that's for the resurrection of the righteous. There'll be no resurrection yet of the wicked. So right now, as Messiah returns, there's going to be a resurrection of righteous beings from all ages that are going to take this kingdom. David's going to be resurrected, right? Moses, well, Moses already resurrected, but David, you're going to see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Noah, and Seth, and Enos, and Enoch, which also is already alive. But you're going to see all of these people. Isaac, Zechariah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, all the prophets and the people that follow going to be resurrected. People from dark ages, people from before the flood that were faithful, going to be resurrected. Lamech, who died at 777, resurrected. And so we're going to take the kingdom. And if you recall, when Messiah was resurrected, the Bible does say that there were saints that were also resurrected who were witnesses of his resurrection. Praise the Most High. That's going to be the same thing, except this time it's going to be different in terms of we're going to take this kingdom, destroy everything. So now at the end of 1,000 years, there'll be a second resurrection. Only this time there'll be no righteous among them. All the ones resurrected in the second resurrection are ready for death, for permanent second death. And they're going to try to take the city. They're going to be resurrected to try to take the city. And they're going to be destroyed. So their brethren that came in the first time, they were destroyed. Then they're going to come try to take a city when they rise up, and they're going to be destroyed. Okay? Now, let's look at Revelation 19 with these things in mind. Revelation chapter 19. I'm going to start at verse 11 and go down to verse 21, Revelation 19. Remember now, notice again, several things, one of which, who goes into the lake of fire in chapter 19. Notice Revelation chapter 19 from verse 11 to verse 21. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahweh. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, clean and white. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress and of the fierceness and wrath of Al Shaddai. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, Malach Malakim, Adonai Adonayim, that is King of kings and Lord of lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come, gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Most High, that you may eat the flesh of kings. This is again, remember, this is Ezekiel 39, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had to receive the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone, and the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. There you go. There you go. That's Ezekiel 39. So now you can see all of the principles that are involved with this system of religious system that is now being set up with the beast and the evangelical church. All of them are going to be cast into the lake of fire. All of them. It's not just one person. You see, the Bible makes it seem that the beast is just one and the false prophet is one. This is a major group of people that are now on the earth, that are now trying to deceive the earth and are indeed deceiving the earth and are now taking power. This is where we at right now, brothers and sisters. And these people going into the lake of fire. Okay? And the rest of them were slain with the sword that proceeded out of his mouth. And all the fowls were filled with their sweat, their flesh. Now that's an allegory. What do I mean by that? Well, when you look at Jeremiah 51, the Bible says we are the most high swords. We are his battle axes. So we are going to go out here. And if you remember, we read chapter 39, that the people are going to go out here and take care of business. Take care of business. And this is going to be finished. And that's why the Bible calls it Armageddon. Armageddon, place of final and utter destruction. Armageddon. That's coming. Praise the Most High Yah. That's coming. That's the shoe. That's the last shoe that's going to drop on this thing. So now this is the first resurrection. This is the first beginning of the 1,000 years. This is chapter 19. This is Ezekiel 39. Now, by the grace of the Most High, next time we'll be looking more closely at chapter 20, 21, 22 with Ezekiel 38. With Ezekiel 38. Okay. All right. All right. I know we covered a lot today, but may the Most High bless these words that his name will be glorified. Let's have a